Hey friends, it's Megan Elizabeth, and you can find me over at bymeganelizabeth.com. I'm really excited to share this reindeer feed and my Cricut Easy Press today. We're going to do some Chalk Couture ink on a pillow. We're going to use copper and black, and we're going to use our featured transfer, which is this reindeer feed, on this canvas pillow. These canvas pillows are available through Chalk Couture. I absolutely love them. And we're going to go ahead and get started just by opening up the transfer. This is a brand new transfer. I have not yet used it, so I'm going to show you how to prep it and get it all ready. We're going to simply write what this transfer is on the back of the transfer, so that way we can make sure we get it right back onto the backing sheet the correct way. You want to put the transfers back on the shiny side, the matte side, whoops, make a mess, why not? The back side you want to mark with what it is, especially if you're doing more than one transfer at a time. So I'm just going to write reindeer on the back. Now, normally what I like to do is fuzz the transfers, which means stick it onto a towel or even onto my pant leg. But because this is going down on fabric, it's not going to pull or stretch too much, and I want it to have as much stick as possible so that there's no bleeding with the chalk ink. Now, with working with a larger transfer like this, sometimes it's helpful, oops, I have it the wrong way, flip it upside down so that the zipper is on the bottom, or whichever way works for you, but I prefer the zipper on the bottom. Now I'm lining it up close to the top edge, but not all the way. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to literally pull the backing sheet away from the transfer as I apply it down. That way the transfer has a least likely opportunity to stick to itself as we're applying it on the surface. And that's really helpful when you're doing larger transfers like this one. Then I'm just going to take a squeegee and I'm getting out all the little air bubbles around the detail of the words, again, just to minimize any bleed or overflow or anything like that. I'm going to turn my Cricut Easy Press on. I'm going to get it good and heated up. Stay tuned for the 12 days of giveaways because we're going to be showing the Easy Press too. I can't wait to unbox it and share it with you. Now I'm grabbing my Chalk Couture Ink Mat. This is a sticky mat that really just helps keep fabric in place when you're using the chalk ink. So I'm just going to place it down on my work surface. I'm going to place this down, and again, I'm going to press it really hard. You'll see here that it'll keep the fabric extra intact in place so that as you're squeegeeing the ink across, it keeps the fabric from pooling and moving too much. All right, so it's a really great thing to have extra. It's not a heat mat or anything. It just has some stick to keep the fabric in place. So I'm going to start with my copper ink. This is brand new. I just got it. It has beautiful shimmer to it. So when you get it, you'll see there is a foil cover to it. I'm just going to do it off to the side so I don't spritz any ink onto, because this is more permanent. And it can stain, but it's really not permanent until you heat set it. That's why we need the Easy Press. I'm just going to stir it up with my squeegee, and I'm going to do the deer itself and the little lines, the detail lines, all in the copper color. I'm just going to kind of dab it across, and then I'm going to pull it all the way down, filling in the entire head of this deer. And I just really want to make sure I fill in all the little holes of this mesh screen. Now, a little bit goes a long way with the ink, and I like to work in tinier sections at a time. The ink does dry a lot slower than the paste does, so you have a lot more working time with it. You don't have to worry about getting the transfer pulled up as quickly as you do when you're working with our paste, because if the paste dries on top of the transfer, you run the risk of pulling up the paste with the transfer and it not being totally filled in. With the ink, you don't have as much of that worry. So little sections at a time, make sure all those little holes are filled in as you go, and really it's just so simple. So we're just swiping it across. Any excess will go right back into the container when we're done. I'm just going to make sure those bubbles are out too, and swipe, 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 and we're good. Now we're going to go ahead and switch into the other color. We're going to use the black. I'm just going to put the lid on so I don't have any additional spills, and we'll stir up our black ink. Now this is a smaller container. This is when we first came out with our Couture ink. They came in 2-ounce size jars. Now you get 3 ounces, and it's phenomenal. And they came with a little bit of a different lid. So because this goes so far, it goes such a long way, I haven't replaced with a 3-ounce size jar for my black ink yet. And that's okay, because it's the same stuff, just a different size jar. But just so you know, in case you were wondering. So anyway, I'm just going to do the same process. Swipe it completely over the entire transfer where I want the black to be. I'm doing all the words in black, and I could mix the colors if I wanted to, get a little bit of shimmer inside that black if I decided to do so, but we're really just going to keep it very basic and simple. Again, a little bit goes a long way, and working in smaller sections can help reduce any bleed or push through that you don't want to have, and it'll give you the really most crisp, detailed results every time doing this. And it really is a very quick process. We can do this entire pillow in under 10 minutes. Even with drying it with either a hair dryer or a heat gun, you do want to make sure the ink is mostly dry before using the Cricut Easy Press on it, just because, well, I think the results are better when you do that. Okay, now we're going to carefully pull it back from the top. I'm going to wash off this transfer just with regular warm soapy water. I'm kind of keeping the transfer tight to itself. This again will help it from sticking to itself in the process and make the life of the transfer last so much longer. And it's just such beautiful, crisp results every single time. I just love that about the chalk transfers and the Couture inks and paste. So now I'm just waiting for it to dry a second here. I'm placing down some parchment paper. Again, I'm going to remove that Couture Ink Mat, which is behind, which I already did. I'm going to set my Easy Press on top. I'm going to let it go for 30 seconds at 300 degrees, and I'm going to just work in sections as we go. So you'll just kind of see it counting down really quickly here. Again, I don't think I finished telling you. I'm going to wash off that transfer with just some warm water. The ink might stain the black, sometimes discolors the transfer a little bit, but it's still usable. You don't have to get it completely stain free. But then I'm gonna place it sticky side facing up, wipe it off with a disinfectant wipe, and put it back onto that backing sheet on that shinier side when it's all done. Okay, I do have the Easy Press heat mat underneath, which I am shifting slowly around to make sure that I'm not heat pressing right onto my tabletop. That Cricut Easy Press mat is wonderful to keep that heat where it's supposed to be without ruining anything, because these get really hot. So I'm just doing it in the 4 sections of this larger pillow. This is over an 18-inch pillow, and the Easy Press is a 9-inch square, and I cannot wait to show you the Easy Press too. So make sure you come back for 12 days of giveaways. That starts Black Friday, so November 23rd this year. And just like that, in under 2 minutes, we heat set the entire thing. So now I can wash, and you can see some of the ink pulled up on the parchment paper because it wasn't fully dry. So it does help to have it fully dry for best results. But it still has beautiful finish. And so anyway, come back November 23rd. We're going to do 12 days of tutorials and giveaways here at bymeganelizabeth.com. You can check them out on Facebook or YouTube as well. I can't wait to see you then. Enjoy the moments.